Now we are going to our next session. Next session is conducted by Shreedeep. Shreedeep from Nepal. This session title is Internet Fellowship and Grants. This session conducted by Shreedeep, Secretary, Asia Pacific School on Internet Governance and founder Learn Internet Governance. Shreedeep, can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you, Anu, for this brief introduction. So today we will be talking about Internet Fellowship and Grant. Can we have the presentation? Basically, Internet Fellowships and Grants, when we talk about all these fellowships and grants, so it is basically about the need of how we are going to voice out our issues. The important thing in today's world is today internet has come to a stage where where the multi-stakeholder environment, where the multi-stakeholder concept has so much impacted the whole policy making process that everyone's voice needs to be addressed and has to be collaborated. So in such view, the fellowships and grants are targeted to different communities, from South Asia to other part of the world. It is made feasible for different economies leaders to represent in bigger platform where they can share their knowledge, where they can share their experience and get the information from there, and again share it to the community. So in such a way, so there are a lot of fellowships that are currently going on. So all these fellowships are all about it's all about how we are going to make the most use of it. So these fellowships basically have a certain structure, they have a certain guidelines, they have a certain evaluation or process through which it goes. So we have to understand these processes. So my presentation will be dealing with you all about what are the processes, what are the things that we need to answer, what are the things, preparation that we need to do in terms of applying for the fellowships. So those are the things. And I always say this, that whenever I talk that I'm not an expert, but moreover I'm also a learner, where we all learn from exchanging information, and we all do our part of the thing. Where okay. Yes, thank
Okay.
you. So this session is all about fellowships and grants and opportunities and challenges. Can we have the next slide? As I've given my introduction, my name is Shreedeep Rayamajhi. I represent Learn Internet Governance, Raise News, and Asia Pacific School of Internet Governance. So I have been in the IG world since 2007. I am a Diplo fellow, and I've done a lot of online courses, and I would motivate all the participants here to look out and search for information that are available in terms of the fellowships of internet governance. If you want to apply for any of the internet fellowships, so kind of like do some searching in internet and try to do some related courses, because that really has an advantage when you are applying for fellowships. So now here we have first slide, fellowships and grants. So these are basically the different components of fellowships and grants. The first one is the value-based and scientific process. So all the fellowships and grants are value-based, and they go through a scientific process. They have certain criteria of evaluation. It is not like that you just fill in, you write in, and you get the fellowship. No, they whenever you write something, it demands a certain link or a proof of credibility. And if you have a certain link of the things that you have done, that would certainly help you. And when we talk about value based, it is all about what the value of the organization is. So whenever you are applying for fellowships, I would request you to go through that website, to go through the values of the organization that you are applying for. You want to be aligned with those values. The second one is information and communication. Information and communication, it is very important that you go through all the information and you communicate with the people. Most of the times, any types of fellowship or grants are open. They give you various information that are very important at different phases, which you have to be very alert of. And if you have any confusion, always ask, because we Asian people are very hesitant in asking, and that is our problem, that we have communication barrier and we don't ask and we don't write back. So anytime there is any confusion, you ask back. The third is the process and condition driven. So we may think that a lot of times we see a lot of people repeating in fellowships. I mean to say, there are fellowships with ICAN, there are fellowships with other organizations, and we do see a lot of people repeating. So basically what happens is fellowships are basically value based, and they have certain criteria of engagement within the community, within the circle, within the region. So that is what you have to understand, that it's a process. It is connected. It is connected with the information that you provide. It is connected with all the information, So it is more of a process condition driven, result and outcome focused. Every time you fill out a fellowship and grant, it should be result and outcome focused. Whether you go and learn something, you should always mention what you are going to do about it. And if you have done something in your past also, you should give links and try to document those things. Those are very important. The fifth one is evaluation-based system. As I've already mentioned, it's an evaluation-based system. Every time, when you fill the fellowships and grants, it goes through a certain value-based evaluation. So the sixth one is we all understand the clarity of the different components from finances to the things that you want to do, especially with fellowships. You have to mention how you're going to manage your knowledge, how you're going to give back to the information that you have learned to the community, because fellowships are not free. That's a very important concept that we all have to understand. The investment that you demand a certain level of engagement. So that is always there. Fact-based, you should always have fact-based fellowship. Whenever you are filling out the forms, it should always be fact-based, and you should always fill all the information in terms of fact, giving links, giving information about things that you have done. You cannot just write a sentence saying, I've done this. If there are photos, if there are links, that is probably going to help you secure your fellowships and grants. Sustainability, I've talked a lot about, the projects coming in and how you're going to be credible, how you're going to be, how you're going to do the engagement. So sustainability is very important in terms of grant, because, whenever there's a grant, people want to see the projects or the things to be running in a more sustainable way. Monitoring and evaluation, the process should be written in a clear way, and community driven. So a lot of the fellowships and grants are more community driven. They look for community engagement. They look at grassroots level engagement, so that there is more to spread. Can we have the next slide?
Sure.
Okay, so now we will be talking about fellowships and opportunities and challenges. So, when we talk about fellowships, we have to first we have to understand as I've talked before, we have to understand the value, the information that are given. So whenever you are filling out the fellowship, you have to see all the information that are in the FAQ, everything, because one small mistake and it can ruin the whole application. So you have to understand the importance of information that are available, and not just information. So we were talking about the profile management. So when you are filling out your fellowships, it's very important that how you're gonna show your profile. When we talk about the profiles, I'm talking about the links that you give, about the documentation that you have done about your past work. So everything has to be very aligned with what they want. So it has to be properly segmented. Yeah, another important thing is checking the eligibility criteria. So that is one of the most important thing, because a lot of the times that a lot of the informations are there. So now we're going to talk about the challenges. So the challenge is communication. The first one is communication, especially when we talk about communication. A lot of us, what we do is we kind of like fill the application form. We have a lot of communication problems in getting the information right. So what you have to do is always get the application form in a Word file. So what you can do is you can copy it in a Word file, all the questions, and start working on it. And that way, what happens is, you kind of like are in control of the information that you are going in. Because if you start to fill out the application within the form, then what happens is a lot of the times you are in a hurry, and that's where you make a lot of mistakes. So what I do, generally, this is my practice, that every time I fill a fellowship form, I kind of like copy all the questions that are there and copy it in a Word, and then think and then write. And that way there are very least mistakes that are done. So that is a very easy and better way of communication. And in a way, when you are communicating, as well as if you have any problem, then you can always go back to the organization and ask them about the problems that you have in terms of understanding the issue. So that way, it can be resolved. So clarity in application process. So, like you just want to be very clear in terms of the values that they have set, the criteria that they have set, so that it becomes very easy for them to evaluate, as well as for you to make it very visible that you are the best candidate for the fellowship. Language barrier, as I've already mentioned, especially from Asia, we have this language barrier, and we kind of like hesitate to ask, and to we are not that good with email, so we have to be very quick with the communication process. Wrong information is something that I've put up here, because it's one of the most important things when you are filling out a fellowship. Never give wrong information, because the world is so small, and anything can be checked and validated, and if it's done, then your fellowship is gone. So I would usually suggest that before putting in any information, you validate, you put in links, so that your chances of fellowships are high. Then we have lack of evidence. Yes, a lot of the times what happens is people do fill in the fellowship form, but they don't put in the links. Like, I will say I have attended APRIGF 2020, but if I put in a link where I've written something about the event, or if there are pictures or anything, so that is more credible and that helps. And a lot of the times the evaluators, what they do is they go through the information that you provide, they validate. So a lot of the times people get disqualified because there is lack of evidences about the things that they say, and then a lot of the times it is very hard to validate as well. So it's better if you provide the evidences, and then that way there might be 10 people, and if you are the one who are providing the links, the documents, and everything, then certainly your application will be pushed forward. So now, things to be considered: always read the guidelines or FAQ. A lot of the times the informations are given there in the guidelines and FAQs, so you have to be very focused when you are filling out your applications. While filling up the applications, always be alert and focused. So those are the things that we've already shared, previously, that you have to be very alert, and especially even after and before the fellowship process, because there are a lot of communications that are happening. So that way you have to be very focused. Application must be clear, and goals and objectives must be clear.
Excuse me, Shreedeep. We have 10 minutes, so please go ahead.
Okay, sure. So engagement and contribution should be well documented. So as I've written, before and after, you should be able to provide evidences and documents. Can we have the next slide? To talk about grants, that you have to see about the mission, vision, and values. So those are the things that you have to target when you are filling out a grant. And it has to be aligned. Your application has to align with the mission, vision, and values of that internet organization that you are applying for, grant are applying for. Can you have the next slide, please? Yeah, grant action items. So, always read, like previously, always read the criteria and FAQ. The action plan must be clear in the proposal, problems, process, and solution. You have to be very clear about that. Problem identification and core components and elements to be clearly defined. Evidence-based interventions. Case study and data strengthens the proposal. Community engagement and sustain. I'm reading this fast because I want to do the Q&A session, because more or less a lot of the things are similar with fellowships and grants. So can we have the next slide? Yeah. So now here we talk about ICAN fellowships, the availability of different types of fellowships in the community. Here I've written ICAN Fellowship. So, when you talk about, especially about ICAN fellowships, you have what you have to, when we talk about the different, internet organization fellowships. So as I said earlier, that you have to, see the criteria. Talking about ICAN is more of a web-based, domain-based organization, and a lot of the interest is there in policy development. So you have to be aligned with the values of ICAN. So you have to see and you have to match those. And apart from that, what the fellowship, ICAN Fellowships looks for is you have to work in the community with their objective. So you have to be doing the outreach that they want. You have to be working with different types of issues they are working with. And there are different types of, community forums that are there. You have to join first. You have to join. Then you have to, engage. And then you have to apply. That way, you will secure your fellowship. Can we have the next slide, please? Yes. So somebody had posted about the engagement. So I have developed two of the toolkits that you can see here. The links will be provided by the organizers. So ICAN Newcomer Toolkit is there. Social media, the channel hubs, different types of groups are there which you can join, and you can expand your network and talk to people. These when you talk about all these internet fellowship, it is very important about networking. You have to be very collaborative. You have to understand the things, and you have to reach out as well. Can we have the next slide? Yes. So now I will answer the question that somebody had put in about what is the impact of fellowship. As I've mentioned earlier, that today internet is not just internet. It has evolved into a more dynamic state where every user they have their own specific needs, usability, so it is all about taking the ownership. So all these internet fellowships are there so that people from Bangladesh can go there and voice out the issues, so that people from Nepal can go there. And a lot of the times, these fellowships are given to the lower economies. Prioritization is done. When we talk about diversity, we talk about representation in such things. We talk about gender. Inclusiveness. So these things are there because the internet is so dynamic that it needs the voices, the problems, the challenges of countries, of leaders from different parts of the world. So it is very important for the different leaders to join in, to voice out their issues and get the information from there and go back to their own respective countries and spread the engagement. And that is a very important process, right? So you go to all these forums, you go back and you spread the engagement. If there is no engagement, then let me tell you, that there is no use. And a lot of the times, people kind of like do join these fellowships, go back, they do some outreach and they forget to document these things. So what I will suggest is, whenever you do something, you have to be very smart enough to do the documentation so that the next time you apply for another fellowship, you can put in the links, you can put in the given the evidence. So it is more of a give and take, right? So it's always about you give out the information to them and they give you the opportunity and you give them the information. So that way, it works. So are there any other questions?
One person is chat box is mentioned is any other age barrier for fellowship?
Yes. So that is very important. That is the reason why I have focused the criteria. If you check my presentation also, I had talked about the criterias. It is clearly mentioned there, that you check the criterias because different organizations have different age limits. Like ISOC have their own young leaders fellowships where there is an age barrier. Even ICAN has it. So it's very normal. You have to check and you have to align your application according to the need of the fellowship. So that is there. Any more question? The most important thing is, you have to be very clear when you are applying for any of the fellowships. What you have to understand that fellowships are not there for free. When you go out there, a lot of the community people are observing you there as well. So you have to perform. You have to, do things I mean to say, before, if you are applying and if you are selected, then what I will suggest you is do some preparation about that fellowship, about the things that you want to talk about, do some preparation and then go. Like in ICAN, the, fellowships, whenever I go, there are different sessions that are happening. So what I do is I do prepare. So that way it is very easy. Regarding the number of fellowships, it is it might be 20, it might be 30, it depends. And a lot of the times it depends upon the organization and their mission vision, as I've already talked. So you have to join all these groups. There are different types of groups, alumni groups. There are basic information groups that are there in Facebook. They are there in Twitter. You can search for #fellowships. So it is upon you about how you are going to approach, how you're going to monitor all these information. So you have to be very smart enough to monitor all the information that are available, and you align with the communication. And if you have any want to know any information, then you just send an email and ask them. And a lot of the times, especially with Asian people, we are very hesitant. So that way, it is kind of a barrier. That is what we talked about previously. Yeah. Any more questions?
Shreedeep, I have a question. Young people,
okay, sure.
How attend the IGF fellowship? UN IGF fellowship.
Okay. Okay. So especially for
youth IGF.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Youth IGF.
Okay.
Youth IGF right now is very important. That's why I'm saying youth people how to attend the youth IGF.
Okay.
And you, okay.
So, for youth IGF, there is a toolkit about what youth IGF is. So I would suggest that first, whoever is interested, go through the whole process. You can search it. The NRI group developed a toolkit about the youth IGF and how to do it. And and it is more like the youth IGF is specifically related with the youth issues with internet governance. It can be related with cybercrime. It can be related with the country-wise issues. So it is very open. So the most important thing is first you go through the toolkit. Second, you can contact the people who are involved. There are various groups in the social media networks, in Facebook, even Asia has a program, Indian Society has a program. So you can contact all these leaders. And they will give you an idea about what to do, how to do, and what are the topics that you should focus on. But most importantly, what I feel is every country have their own issues, and it's the leaders who have to step in. It's the leaders who have to be dynamic. So it is moreover about what kind of approach you have. So it should be from the leaders. And you can contact people, and with social media, it is very easy to contact.
Shreedeep, thank you very much. Thank you for your nice presentation. And from Nepal, you are my friend, and every time you supported our school, BDSIG, from Nepal. Thank you for your support, and we feel honored you're present here. Thank you very much, Shreedeep. Now we are going to our next session. Okay, Shreedeep.
Okay, thank you, Anu. Thank you, Anu, for.
Please, Shreedeep.
Thank you, Anu, for giving me this opportunity. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Shreedeep. Now we are going to Bozlubhai. Bozlubhai conduct our closing session. Bozlubhai, please, over to you.
অনু ভাই, আমাদের